Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We're coming.
Walter Cronkite.
Walter Cronkite. So the older people will know, and they'll go, "What the hell? That's just like him." Or they go, "Oh, that's not even close."
Yeah.
So we came on this afternoon to talk about mental health,
Yeah.
and so he's the mental, and I'm actually the healthy one. You know.
Health.
Okay. We did come on though to talk about mental health because this morning one of the things that, you know, I remember from years gone by how the medical or the psychology profession, the psychiatry profession talked about how one of the things that we need to stop doing is having the people coming out of prison being stuck in these like halfway houses, and they are to go to their job and they're to work and then to come straight back and then report to their parole officer. And why am I going on about the prison system both in the United States and here in Canada is because what happens is when we kind of like shutter people away, it's like you need to do this and you need to do that, and you cannot come in contact with whoever. It's like basically what it does is when you shut part of you down around being in communication with people, it ends up you build these walls, and then pretty soon what am I trying to say? You have a hard time communicating with other people.
Yeah. And so a lack of communication is much like a metaphorical prison in that people get stagnant. They cut themselves off and they cut other people off because there's no open communication. If they feel like they're constantly being talked over or not listened to or even not heard, even when they're talking. I mean, it's the same as being in solitary confinement.
That was it. Yes. Yeah.
I knew where you're going.
Yeah, and it's funny where they did these one study. I shouldn't say they did these studies. I remember one specific study that was done where when they had people that were coming out of prison but they were into groups where they were being engaged and they were being listened to, and they were being heard, and they were allowed to speak and share what their feelings were and coming. And I'm not talking about frou-frou shit. It's like oh my God, my feelings are this, and I'm just like so freaking lit up. They actually talked about like when I felt so stupid when I went to prison for the dumb thing that I did. That you don't get to share it when you're in prison. I mean, I've never been in prison. I've been in jail. Okay, a couple of times. But anyways, it's like, that was when I was younger. But it's like, I've never been in prison where it's like, you kind of keep a close, things close to your chest, right? So like, but the study was that showed that it was predominantly, I don't know if there was any women that were involved in this, but it was predominantly male
prisoners,
inmates that had come out. Yeah. And they tried this tactic of this group and allowing them to speak and bringing the families in, where sometimes families are pissed off. You just screwed our whole family. You robbed a bank, or you stole a car, or you broke into a drugstore, or whatever the case may be. Is it's like bringing the family back in and being supportive, because often the family's not. It's like, well, okay, you did that. You hurt our family. You made us look bad, right?
Yeah, so what communication does then is it allows people to have that breakthrough. It has that support in the sense of being heard, being listened to, and actually being able to communicate what they're out to say and how they feel about certain subjects. I mean, this isn't just about prison. We're just using that as an example here. But we're using this as an example to illustrate the fact that without solid communication, without a really good ability to not only articulate yourself, but the feeling of being heard and being listened to, it's very much akin to that solitary confinement, that I'm alone here. What am I supposed to do? Because people, while they have others around them, if they're not listened to, if they're not able to communicate
and say what their piece is, and this kind of ties in with what you'd said earlier too, about the whole COVID 4, or like we're heading into
August.
Like this is July, so it's March, April, May, June.
Almost 6 months.
July. That's 5 months.
Since the start.
So how many people? Well, as a matter of fact, we know somebody who her grandmother nobody had talked to her in the entire time. In the entire
In the
time.
entire time.
And you know, without making anybody wrong and bad, it's just like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. I mean, unless you're a meditator like me, where
I'd like to do that to you sometimes, but not for 6 months. As I'm sure that you'd like to do to me.
where's that yardstick? God, jeez.
I don't know, what's the meter stick at?
But it's like, you know, is there anybody that you know that's been stuck in, you know, like where it's like they lost their job, or they got let go from their job, they weren't able to go back to their job, or their job just wasn't there, it evaporated. You know, it's like, where did it go?
Yeah.
Now what do I do? I need to take and put my resume together, and you can't go and see anybody, you can't drop a resume off, you have to do everything online. Guess what? More lack of communication. You know, so, I mean, this is kind of getting a little long-winded, but, you know, we're just, like, throwing around. It's like, this is, you know, kind of ties in and fits in with Keaton and myself and a joint venture partner of ours, Amy. We put a course together called Conscious Communication, and it starts off with, you know, like, how are you in communication? Are you in communication with your mother, your father, your sister, your brother? You know, are you in communication?
Your kids.
Your
coworkers or former coworkers. I mean, people are people. It doesn't matter if you know them from
That's
the
right.
office. You can still check in. You can still say, "Hey, man, how's it going?"
Yeah, and especially with social media, it's like talking to your boss. Hey, are we getting back to work soon? Or,
Yeah.
like, how's things going?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, right? So
And it'll go a long way if you're going to ask your boss, "Hey, how are you and the wife doing? How's your kids handling this?" Because if you start taking an interest in other people's lives, they're going to actually care and give a shit and actually care about you. Not just as an employee, not just as a boss, not just as I work with them, I see them twice a week.
Well, do you remember the Landmark work that I did?
Yeah.
Right? The Landmark Education put a whole bunch of courses on back a long time ago. And actually they're still putting these courses, some of the courses on. I'm not involved with them anymore. But one of the pieces that I bring up about that, it's called relatedness. How are you being related to the people that is your parents, is your son, is your daughter, is your mother, is your coworker, is your boss? Or it's like, maybe it's one of your employees, you know, or 6 of your employees. How are you putting that relatedness in? And it reminded me of that work, because Keaton just finished saying, where, you know, like we have social media. It's like, hey, boss, how are you doing? Like, how's you and the wife and the kids doing? You guys okay?
Think about this. There's a lot of people right now that not insecure, that were not secure in their relationship going into this lockdown, that are now coming out of it, and either they have great communication now because they have time, or they had such a massive breakdown that the first thing they're doing as soon as they get out and the lawyers are opening, they're going,
The lawyers?
divorce.
Lawyers are opening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that goes from A, B, C, D, E. Like, where are you on the scale?
Yeah.
And, you know, what have you put in? You know, I think we've done videos on this before,
Yeah.
where it's like on communication. But so anyways, like, between Keaton and I, Keaton's my oldest son. He's 31, and Tamala, she thinks I'm 49, which I'm going to go with that. Rockin' dude. Like, that's awesome. So you can tell by my expressions how old I am. Anyways, so what we did was we put together a course called Conscious Communication to help people, you know, build that bridge, you know, build that muscle of communication. And you know,
And start on the road of being able to strengthen it to a point where you have solid communication.
and solid skills in the communication area,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Good job.
I think that's it today.
Yeah, I think so too. If you're interested, like, you know,
Yeah,
DM us and
DM
just
us.
go, hey, because we've already got one person,
Yep.
you know, for our next one, and they're going, yeah, right on. This looks right awesome.
Super excited for it.
Yeah, me too.
Cool.
Take care.
Have a great day, guys.
Bye.
Bye.